Welcome to Tours at 10. I'm Jamie Franklin, curator here at the Bennington Museum. And today I thought we'd look at something in our collection that has a lot of topical resonance here. I don't know exactly when this will be seen, but we're taping this here less than a week after the insurrection and violence at the Capitol buildings. And I thought we'd take a look back at a story related to Vermont and an early incident of violence on the floor of Congress, as well as one of the only people to have been jailed for the Alien and Sedition Acts. Interestingly, I believe Callie has given another tour at 10 that we'll talk about Anthony Haswell. It seems that two of the only people, possibly the only two people that were actually jailed for the Alien and Sedition Acts happened to be Vermonters. So this is a late 18th century caricature of an incident that happened on the floor of Congress when Congress still met in Philadelphia in 1798. And it's a violent altercation that happened between two Congress members, Matthew Lyon and Roger Griswold. Lyon was a representative from the state of Vermont. He originally served in the Vermont State House of Representatives representing Arlington, so just up the street from Bennington. He eventually moved to Fairhaven, which is near Rutland, but he served in the federal Congress, House of Representatives, in Philadelphia from 1797 to 1801. And the incident in which this print is depicting was a case in which there was simply partisan politics involved, in which there was discussion of censuring another Congress member. Roger Griswold was a Federalist, and Matthew Lyon was a Democratic Republican, which were two of the major parties in America at the time. Griswold was trying to get Lyon's attention. Lyon was ignoring him. There were insults hurled. It turns out that Lyon spit tobacco juice in Griswold's face. He ended up writing an apology, but there were still clearly hard feelings. And at a later date, on the Congress floor, Griswold actually attacked Lyon with his cane, hitting him over the head and on the shoulders. I know in the news there's been mention of Charles Sumner. There's a portrait of Charles Sumner in the Capitol building that was in some of the more popular viral photographs that were taken during the violence that happened at the Capitol building last week. Sumner was also in an incident of violence on the floor, but this Matthew Lyon, he was attacked, and both of them apologized, and neither of them were censured. They continued to be representatives representing their respective states in Congress. And then, as I mentioned earlier, it turns out that Matthew Lyon also went on to be jailed under the Alien and Sedition Act. Again, John Adams, who was president after George Washington, elected in 1800, was a Federalist. Matthew Lyon was a Democratic Republican. He published things against Adams, and so he was actually jailed for 6 months through the Alien and Sedition Act, which was a controversial law that said you can't be publishing kind of libel or anything against the federal government. And because Lyon disagreed with Adams, basically called him a scoundrel, he was put in jail. And interestingly, he was the first, unfortunately, not only congressman to be elected while in jail, but it also gets at the issue that, party politics and using politics for good or bad has a long history in these United States of America. And this is an interesting early story of these issues with strong ties to our area right here in the southwestern corner of Vermont. So thank you for joining me for today's tour at 10 and learning about the story of Matthew Lyon.